this team? What kind of drills do you run?
A little bit of mark roundings and like spacing. Getting your spacing. Yeah,
Give me drills.
like general drills.
What would you be doing?
I really thought that when I said looked outside, it looked really clean. So maybe just.
But still,
I would
right?
be really short windward
saying, still, we're here, right?
I know. I would do real short windward lewards, maybe, especially if it's breezy. That can help us with spacing, with picking when you're going to tack to go to the mark. Because you know that when you want to get in that line to around the mark almost. It wasn't too bad because there was only 3 other boats, but it's still. Do I go or do I cross or do I duck?
Creating congestion,
yeah,
right?
I would say congestion.
We want to compress that, right? What have we had the last couple days? Land breeze, right?
Yeah.
Where are you dropping that course?
Close to that.
Right underneath it,
I would.
right? What else are you doing?
Well,
There's a lot of shit up here.
the thing is, it was when I said the event, it was. I only said the first day when it was windy. It was a lot more of just survival stuff than it was actual.
You kind of have to pick your moments.
But we did the thing you talked about, the jib thing and the pinch up, and I thought that helped us because there was using the jib and pinching up sort of.
Oh
like
yeah.
That we cruised by. I remember one up when there was like 3 of us in a row, and we somehow like they were going this way, we just ended up going that way.
I'm really happy that helped you guys.
And we practiced it Wednesday.
Have you guys seen that makes a difference?
You need to practice it though. Like if you want to do that in regatta, you need a day of practicing.
Yes.
Because we struggled the first hour and a half we tried it.
Yeah, Alex was big help with that too. Alex knows we were drifting live because I was using our tiller, and then we finally found a balance between me heading up and Bryce easing when he needed to, and just jamming the main and I pressing the main. I was just doing little tiny adjustments just to keep it perfectly flat, so I pinch and go down, instead of more jib, because the jib it's really hard to get that jib in.
And when you bring it in as a crew, like when you let the jib in a little bit, you're sacrificed. Like when you're fully hiked, you can't just like you hold on to the jib, so it's not like you can just like.
Hold on a second. That's a physical conditioning question.
No, I'm just saying, like you have to go in to let the jib out a little bit instead of like if I let go of the jib while I'm fully hiked out, I'm gonna fall into the water. Okay, I can just let it go with my fingers.
We can change that.
How?
Huh? It may be different for you because you've got crazy leverage and crazy leverage. Which is to say, on Bryce, the boat probably ends about here.
Yeah, it ends like.
And in that circumstance, yeah, you might need the sheet.
Oh, that's true. Like if it was like Alice or someone, they could easily just.
But at that point, you got to ask yourself, right? Maybe we need to change our aspects of our technique to allow us to move the jib more. Just to say, instead of hiking off the strap, there is a reasonable. It would go through my mind. Should Bryce be hiking off the center?
That's what I was doing a lot because it's almost easier. Like I get better.
I'm fucking Swami Fred. Like I can just see the shit. I can just see the future without even having to be there, right? There's no mystery. There's not magic, right? The reason why I say this is how do you guys coordinate? How should you guys optimally coordinate the head up and the ease? In a 420, it's easier, right? Because you've got both controls inside the hand of the skipper, right? So when you get hit by that puff, boat starts to yield the leeward immediately, and the skipper feels the 5-alarm fire burning in his hand because he's got the windward helm pulling the tiller out fast, and all of a sudden we realize boat's not balanced. So the skipper has deliberate control and a direct feedback loop as to how much he needs to neutralize the windward helm, and that's how he gauges how much he eases the main sheet. Right? And as he's doing that, the productive skipper is easing main sheet to control leeward heel, but as he's easing it, he lets that windward heel, or the windward helm rather, or weather helm, just suck the thing out of his hand, right? To me, the unifying factor that both sailors can feel is the heel. You know, crew can't feel the weather helm pulling the tiller out of his hand because crew doesn't have his hand on the rudder, but as the boat starts to heel over, crew can start to bleed the jib a little bit, and the skipper can let the rudder start to slide over with whatever windward helm, with whatever weather helm the crew is allowing him to have, right? So the crew controls the rate of how fast the helm veers up. The helm just has to say, look man, you're driving the boat, I'm passive.
Well, we almost hedged it.
We're used to this, are we not?
So we would let our sails out. Like I would see the pod coming, and I would pod that, and then be like, okay. So we'd see it, and then I would like tentatively before it came, I would like sort of cheat and let the jib out a little bit.
Yeah.
And like instead of doing the whole ease hike trim, well, it is ease hiking and trimming, but I would ease the jib, and it would almost flap it for like half a second, and
Yep.
then the puff would hit. But I guess since the jib was already not fully tightened in, then we were able to.
As soon as your jib's
not
locking
lose
and
heel.
that main sheet's still in, you're heading up a little bit.
Yeah, and it was perfect because we
Yeah.
wouldn't kill ourselves and we'd accelerate right away. And
That probably helped you guys significantly. That
Yeah.
takes you out of reaction mode, puts you in anticipation mode. You know what else is a major thing that all the guys up north do for anticipation? They see that puff coming on, bangs on. Bangs on harder than it was before. They see the lull coming on, bangs on. Okay, so you guys can adjust that. And there's a
And you go in each time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that.
No,
you're
but
going in
it's a lot
each
easier in
step.
420s to do
It's-
that than in an F-jet.
I think it's real easy. The question becomes this, right? Depending upon what you have going on. If you've got a marginal breeze, I don't know if in and amongst this much land, what was your lull breeze like?
20.
Still insane.
20?
That's what like if
Right.
it's steady like 25, like you're gonna be out the whole time if you go and put that bang.
How about the second day when you're at 15?
Second day, there were,
8, 7.
in the morning, there were, yeah, I would say like.
On the second day we have big puffs coming on, big lulls though, right? Though that's the time when
Yeah,
that
that's-
happens, right? I didn't realize exactly how nuclear it was the first day. If it's that nuclear, it's strap the bang and leave it. If not, you know, right here, you know, that's another great way to start to anticipate. Because it literally, let's say that you've got the situation where it's 15 and you still have leftover massive puffs from the hurricane, and you can get this. You can get lull breeze at 15 with puffs coming down from altitude 30 knots. Like it does happen when you're in amongst this much land. Those are real difficult situations to sail in, right? So you need to be, so in that situation, I'd be playing the bang aggressive. I'd be coming. And it's really this much. Having upper body strength, there's a major premium to that, because if you can get out from here hiking, crank back hiking, it takes that long, and you don't lose that much pressure.
Yeah, we probably should try and do the jib more instead of moving. Yeah, probably should be the jib easy. Instead of
I don't,
being
in
trained.
terms of, there's not a boat I've sailed in a very long time, and there are only a couple of classes where I can think of an exception to this, where to depower the boat heading upwind, I'm ever deliberately pushing the rudder over. That's a sensation I avoid at all costs.
Like feather.
Yeah, I never push the feather. I allow the boat to take the weather helm to suck it out of my hand, and I regulate how much weather helm I feel by controlling the heel with the sails. So I control the weather helm, and I let the weather helm do what it wants to do. That means that my rudder is producing the least amount of drag the entire time I'm changing course. Because if you're pushing like this, you never know. No idea. And that's a major thing. If as skippers, if you can get that together, that's a huge thing. For crews, the major thing is if you can get your skipper to the point where they don't need to do that, let me give you guys a situation. Because this happens in venues like Eckerd all the time. So let's say that you're on the ley line, or on the port tack ley line, and all of a sudden, here's the windward telltale, here's the leeward telltale, boat's flat. This happens. You're sailing 8 knots. What do you need to do?
Not crack time, but
What is this telling you, first off? You're lifted, big time, right? To say that you're close to the port tack ley line. So most people, if they're sailing, they see this, they realize, oh shit, I'm lifted, let me start to head up, right? But you're not heeled. Let's say that this is some crazy land, the shift coming off the land, it's a topographical shift, it's a shift setting in with a lull or no change in breeze. And this does happen. This happens frequently, right? The inexperienced skippers, the skippers that don't practice with their crews, that have zero coordination, they do this. Oh, I need to head up. And they slow down. As a crew, what do you do here? Huh? Yeah, what else do you do? Ease the jib. Those two adjustments. Ease the jib to perfect trim. That mainsail stays in, you're heading up. Sit in a little bit, you use leeward heel. Those two things are going to do what for the skipper? Give them weather helm. And then all they need to do, if they're not pushing anymore, they just let it suck out of their hand. Major, it's a huge thing, right? That's why I always come back to the value of practice. But we were in the middle of another exercise before we got down this delightful tangent, and it's a good one, right? You guys are starting to see how this works. This kind of thing, and you know, I don't know if this is this seems to happen in years. You know, like there'll be like 2 or 3 year block where we just get the shit blown out of us every weekend. Like last year, it was windy. It was 15 plus from almost October through April. It was ridiculous. And if that happens again this year, for whatever reason, and we're sailing events around Florida, the cold front's coming through, whatever, we're sailing our own home waters a lot, then learning how to sail in breeze is gonna be a big thing. And if we can roll the dice right, and we get districts in that, or we get semis in that, or we get nationals in that, if we roll that far, you show up and you kick ass, So and sometimes you roll the dice wrong, Brian Kamlar was, and I talk about Brian all the time, but Brian was one of the faster guys in college sailing his senior season, and nationals were in FJs in San Francisco. Yeah, he wasn't ready for that. I mean, he wasn't really well suited for that. He wasn't a laser sailor like Thomas Sparrows and everybody else. But, you get lucky, get unlucky. He's trying to get lucky all the time. You were talking about short window lures. We were talking about what practice drills would you run to try to replicate these sort of things that were exposed for us in terms of gaps in skill. You talked about short window lures to create congestion. What else you guys gonna do?
Slaloms.
Huh?
Slaloms.
If you got what?
Any categories.
What do you mean by any categories?
Anything above 15?
Yeah, I like slaloms. I like slaloms for reach to reach. How many people were having? How many reach to reach jives do you do in each race?
Every job.
Well,
Every jive bar.
one per race.
One per race,
So
right?
it's, a triangle lure.
And you guys were doing triangle winner lures, right? So how many run to run jobs did you do?
About one.
Yeah, usually one.
Was it short?
Just
Okay.
like-
Probably get it.
Drive
Two
in
max,
window?
two.
Yeah.
If it was 25, I wouldn't want to do it. I don't think we would.
It was just you'd want to almost reach up a little bit, jot, and then head down and realize how you jot.
Actually, you know something, I actually, most of the time I miss the lay line, most of the time I just want to miss
On the jives or on the open?
I think a lot of people actually,
On the open?
no, downwinds, everyone missed the lay line, they had to reach to the finish line, it was stupid.
And down, and up. Matt was standing quite often. Maybe that was the management.
So not, I mean, it's not crucial, but it's important. Just more than.
What would you do, Matt? Sorry, Ben.
What, about
Practice drills.
vegetables? Vegas is a good deal about, we just like,
You've identified these problems.
ran into an upwind, or we all start really close together. And then it's also the same thing downwind, which is like, coming together and figure out a way to come to.
Did you guys have issues with congestion lure mark harness?
No, for this we spread.
No, by the time you hit the leeward mark, Charleston was way winning. And USF, us and Anchor were pretty.
Were we in striking distance to these guys for most of the day?
Sometimes, there's once, I think once.
Actually,
I'm gonna go together. Were we in striking distance to these guys?
We came first once.
once. And they got a straight bullets in once too.
And like, I was ahead of them sometimes, but I was just.
I think Beasley got 3-2 and then straight bullets.
Okay. Okay.
It's not like they were like untouchable.
So we've got some more basic fundamental technique things to worry about before we're putting ourselves more regularly in competition with these guys in this condition, right?
I think if I had better starts, I was calling, I felt like I was making really good calls on shifts. Probably the best I've ever done in sailing. And,
Good.
And I felt I was making better decisions than Charles was.
Well, Charleston also messed up. They fouled 2 boats. They weren't perfect.
Yeah.
What was I
I was
got
just
I gotta
so
tell you guys,
bad.
when I first started to hear, when I was starting to read the comments in this, and I was saying people were talking about crossing situations in congestion, finding a lane at the top of the beat, spacing and starts. The first thing I thought in my mind is this is a SASA district champs. This is SASA district champs. How many other boats are competing? 3. That's it. It's a real small regatta, right? Which is why when I saw these 2 things, I was thinking in my head, just like, something's amiss here. Either we are very competitive with these guys, we find ourselves, as 4 boats that are very evenly matched all the time, we find ourselves in significant congestion frequently, or I don't know what else is happening. Maybe there are a whole bunch of younger schools that are rising up and getting dangerous. But back in the day, it was only 3 or 4, 5 tops if UF has got anybody, right?
It was us and USF and Anchor usually at the top mark, and Charleston would be Boeing to that. So I guess, I mean, I didn't post those comments, but that's what I'm assuming.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, at the first one remark, I mean, the first beat, it had potential to be pretty congested, but after that, not as much.
We've talked about how to handle downspeed control in previous talks, have we not? How to handle drift, how to minimize drift. We've talked about acceleration, right? We've talked about the spacing concerns in terms of what space you need and what relationship you need to hold relative to line, right? We've talked about how to identify where the line is by taking line sights, correct? Okay, so this is not a question of a gap of substantive knowledge, this is a question of execution, right? We know what we need to do, roughly speaking, right? And some people may have been here for this, some people may not have been, and I'll be happy to go back and talk about specific technique issues at length. Or, you know, if you guys want to email me individual questions, you'll get like an email response 10 pages long. But it was 14? That's awesome. That makes me even happier. Big air jibes. We haven't talked about that so much in here, but I feel like you guys practice that a good deal, right? I've seen Alex's videos on YouTube of you and Laura doing jives down there and all the rest of the stuff. I'm pretty big. But maybe we need to do more of this to get more comfortable with it.
Just do a lot less.
Reaching technique, how much reaching do you guys do in practice?
Almost zero.
Okay, so maybe we need to start, here's another drill. Maybe we need to start racing triangles more often.
I think it'd almost be beneficial to race in our conditions because it's really, obviously it's hitting through the reach when it's 25 plus. But it'd be almost nicer to race when it's like 10, 15 because you can get the boat onto a reach. And it's keeping the skill level up, can I keep my boat on a reach? Because if you screw up, if a crew goes in or a crew dumps the jib or over trims it, you get off that reach real quick.
If we're not doing any of this, in any range of condition, I can guarantee you problem's gonna show up when it's going 20, right? Yeah, that's just basic. So maybe we need to start throwing in some triangles in practice, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. How about and reaching strategy? We can talk about this in terms of.
I mean, triangles, I think, are something that big area. Just like, how often do you see the triangle? You know,
Yeah, I would try to bias this towards big air, but I'd still say even for the days where you get 12 or 15 knots, it might be worth doing a couple of these.
We saw triangles at Old South, remember? There's a triangle at Old South. Yeah.
People will still do it. It used to be a lot more prevalent than it is now, but
And Old
people
South was
still
like
do
a
it.
zero, like dead.
Ley lines. How you guys gonna work on this?
Blend, not even blender. Because even then, you're just like, oh, I think it's time to pack, and you don't. You're just like, oh, I'm in the.
I got a drill for this I learned from Arthur Blodgett at the U.S. Sailing Level 2. Man, I need to bring in an eraser.
I feel like we've been battling, for weeks.
You're not battling with me, I'm just lazy, dude.
Just don't use it when we bring it in.
Okay. Got it. That's right. I would rather you be around here and let these lessons percolate through your mind and waste time getting it. This is what Arthur calls the ley line drill. It is the single best way I've seen to work on calling ley lines, bar none. Take a rabbit, make him round a leeward mark. He's sailing here. The entire fleet has to duck his stern as he tacks out. So you get a guy here, you get a guy here, you get a guy here, you get a guy here. By the time he's tacking, there. You guys see that? Because this guy crossed when he was down here, and the time it takes him to sail from here to here, he gets to here. The entire fleet is pretty much even. You guys see that? All right. Whoever is the first person ducking, this guy's kind of off the pace. It's just fun. This guy has to estimate the ley line. You're only allowed one tack. You tack once. So this guy is going to come all the way out here. When he thinks he's on the ley line, he's going to throw the tack. Depending upon where you are as a boat here, if you've done your job in terms of going fast or whatnot, you might have gotten out on him a little bit. But you tack whenever you think you've got the ley line, or you throw a lead bow on him, or if he's ahead of you, you got to duck. If he's ahead of you, you got to duck, you lost. But this makes him judge the ley line, he judges the ley line, he judges the ley line, etc., etc., etc. That's ley line. great drill. It's the #1 way in like a competitive environment that you kind of hone down on exactly where that is. And you're not using some coach. One coach who was sailing in our bay last year used to have kids try to estimate the ley line, and he would say, yes or no, you hit the ley line. That's no way to figure out whether or not you hit the ley line. The only way that you know you hit the ley line is whether or not you're actually making it. This is the best drill for that that I've seen. If anybody has anything better than that, then I'd love to hear it, because this is a hard skill to master. You know, and I think that that's a great way to go down. What else? So you guys were dealing with a situation where it was really tight racing between USF and Africa, right? You guys aren't doing anything this weekend? People are practicing this week? You know I'm about to ask you guys?
Can we go to your regatta?
Yeah.
Do they have free boats?
Huh?
They have free boats.
You guys have free boats. The FJs are faster than the 420 upwind in the conditions we're planning on having. But more than that, if they're not, it doesn't matter anyway. The reason why I'm saying this is because you guys have an opportunity to get on a line. I can almost promise you we're going to have 10 plus boats from Coral Reef. That's amazing. That is great practice. Okay? And I used to sail against Tommy Fink and Bonk and Corman, well not Corman, Corman was 2. Diego and a couple of other guys. When I was in college, they were sophomores, I was a senior. And they were like, they were like freshmen or sophomores in high school, and I was like a junior or senior in college. And it was tough, sailing on the same line as 420s in some aspects, but in others, I could just smoke them. I had a much better pointing angle when I was going upwind, most of the time, in moderate air. When it got really light, I felt like the 420s had a little bit of an advantage. I got really heavy, the 420s were way. There are also differences in terms of tactics, right? On a starting line, 420s don't slide anywhere near as much as the FJs do, just because of the difference in terms of the blade size. But that's a great opportunity. If you need to learn how to control your drift, be in an FJ and start on a line full of 420s, you will learn in a fucking heartbeat. Because otherwise you're going to be fouling people left and right. The reason why I say this is because if you guys sail your boats out there, they're going to give you a start. You just show up on the line, okay? No entry fee. You just show up. It's 3 races starting at 11:30. If we get a whole lot of people out here, let's say we get 5, 6 boats from UM, we're looking at possibly close to a 20-boat regatta. That is awesome. You want to talk about replicating an environment? Forget district champs. Let's talk about Nevins, where we got our asses kicked. Let's talk about Navy, Trucks and Umstead, all the rest of that stuff. The number of times we can get to try to get repetition of stuff, we've got to practice in the same environments that we're going to find ourselves competing in, and this is an opportunity. Because you ain't even travel. This is like travel light. This is like show up to the yacht, show up to CGSC like 10 o'clock in the morning, launch the boats, do 3 races, be done drinking beers by 4:40.
Where is it exactly? Is it just
Out in the middle of the bay. You'll
On
see
Sunday?
it. Yeah.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, that'd be one.
All right. Jump in a boat, man. Just jump in a boat.
I shall let you know.
Beers.
It's
You
between.
want to sail?
This is recording.
Yeah.
Let's bring Spinnakers.
It's just like, I was going to ask
All right.
Carolina, you said
All right, we'll go, Fred.
Excellent. But there are other people that you guys need to talk to, right? Matt Hecht, I'm saying this to the camera. writing on the Facebook wall. Oh, if I don't have a boat with a chute, I'm kind of on the fence. Yeah, that's a cop out. Matt Hecht.
Besides, doesn't have anything but me. You can sail a shoot.
What?
But the reason why is not because put it this way. If I show up at a race, I'm out of college, right? If I show up at a race with high school kids who are good, but they're much faster equipment than me, I can handle, my ego can take losing to those kids when they have a knot advantage, especially down if they can throw a shoot somewhere. It does not cripple my sense of self-value to lose to a kid who's racing a Ferrari and I'm stuck in a Pinto. That's not going to be the case. Hopefully, it won't be the case on Sunday, given the conditions we have. I'm hoping that 8 or 9 knots, maybe 9 or 10. That's pretty much as even, I think, as 420s and FJs can. And that's good, that's really good for us. Plus half the kids are gonna be sailing Collegiate 420s anyway. Plus we're gonna get kids out of Ransom, we're gonna get kids out of Gulliver. This is traffic, man. This is awesome. So show up, Mad Hat.
Bring your penny. Don't forget your penny.
Yeah, the high school pen's not cool.
Where is a high school pen? Like, well,
It's really ugly, it's like orange and it's like FP.
You were okay.
just going through these things. Finding land at the top of the beat. We actually did a talk about this, and it's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about this. So this is another one of those things that's about execution, right? Finding land at the top of the beat. What do we need for that? Traffic. Therefore, sail something. And construct drills that put you in that position, right?
Do you need an RSVP facility?
You don't need an RSVP to shit. You just need to show up.
Well,
Send a form of RSVP.
or if you can, no, I mean, you should have an idea of person as a captain.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
So there's only 3 races, you said? Are they long or something?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, they're
around
long.
15 long.
But think about this, man. Look. Even if there's some kind of gross speed disadvantage, I guarantee you in the FJs you'll probably be beating the most of the collegiate 420s, maybe in the club 420s up to level. They turn the corner, the club 420s are probably gonna start walking away. But if you have 5 boats out there, 5 FJs, guess what? You have an even competition amongst 5 FJs with a whole bunch of other moving targets that create problems for you. That's great, man. It doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. We're trying to unify all the various double entities. No.
Yes, we should all go then.
It's Sunday, right? Not Saturday?